The Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 in Accra, on Love 99.5 in Kumasi, and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. Radio Justice Tamale, Radio Pando, Fafa Radio Joje, and Jata FM Karaga. We're live on Twitter Spaces, Facebook live stream, and Majoy online interactive app. The Midday News is sponsored by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol, always a delightful experience. And Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank. Where Duraplus goes, water flows. Coming up, some key supporters of Alan Tremontin abandon him and his independent presidential bid as they vow to stick with the NPP tradition.
I can only wish him well, but the principle is that I, Kwame Owusu-Amankwa, remain with the elephant symbol.
But I can only wish him well and say that any person who, like me, supported Alan Tremontin, this is a time to reassure the party faithful that we are together.
We have more as the party threatens that anyone who joins the Alan train will no longer be considered a member of the party.
And then if you go and support any other candidate apart from our presidential candidate, it means forfeiture of membership.
Also founding member of the NPP, Dr. Nyahonyao Tamaklo challenges Alan Tremontin to name persons destroying the party.
He made mentions of certain things. Who are those few people? Alan should be bold. You see, the problem with him is that he's not bold.
So what role will Mrs. Tremontin play in the upcoming presidential candidature of her husband?
I'm giving him every support with the strength that God has given me, because you will agree with me that now the signal is clear.
Also take you to the Ashanti region, where the party has issued a directive on Alan Tremontin's posters. Also in this bulletin, the woes of displaced residents worsen as NADMO indicates there are no resources to cater for them following havoc caused by the floods.
No officialdom, apart from the Ghana Red Cross that supplies the food family sent to them. No food, no water, nothing. The other facility added, the 6 minute plus it's almost for level 1 in occupied.
Meanwhile, NADMO and residents are puzzled about the rise in water levels in the area despite the Bui Water Authority debunking reports of a spillage of the Buggy Dam.
Because the water still coming. Yesterday, as at around 4 to 5, people left the market to their supply. They came their homes, all their mattresses were soaked in the water.
We're also out and about looking at the debris left behind by last Friday's rains in Accra in sports.
The Black Queens hope to continue their winning streak as they face Rwanda in the Women's AFCON qualifiers.
And much later, National Petroleum Authority takes action to prevent looming fuel shortage amid Tanker Owners Union threat to halt transportation of petroleum products due to foreign takeover concerns.
Obviously, is going to bring shortages into the country with refined petroleum products, because these truckers who haul to the petrol garages. So if they decide they are not going to haul again, who suffers? It's the Ghanaian who suffers because of a foreign company. No, it can't happen that way.
I am Maame Nyamekye Thompson. Please stay for details. This afternoon, some key supporters of Alan Tremontin have, in his failed bid to lead the ruling New Patriotic Party, abandoned him following his decision to resign from the party and run as an independent presidential candidate in 2024. Alan Tremontin said his decision to go solo was based on the unfair treatment meted out to him and his supporters, among several other factors. But some key supporters backing him to lead the NPP since 2005 say they cannot support his decision. More on that shortly. First, the leadership of the NPP has served notice to expel any individual who joins Alan Tremontin's campaign. Here's a News Desk report.
I wish to use this platform to announce that I'm honorably resigning with immediate effect from the New Patriotic Party.
Flag bearer aspirant Alan Tremontin announced his decision to officially resign from the governing New Patriotic Party to contest as an independent candidate in the 2024 elections. He cited the hijacking of the party by unnamed individuals.
The party has been hijacked by a selected group of party leaders and elders, government appointees, behind the curtain power brokers and some unscrupulous party apparatus.
But national organizer of the NPP, Henry Nanabuachi, says the party is unfazed by Mr. Chemantin's resignation. He warns any individual who declares support for him will be expelled with immediate effect.
That is what the Constitution says.
In other words, as we speak tonight, SK Boafo ceases to be a member of the NPP.
That is what I have not heard it. You are saying it, but the Constitution is quite clear that if you're a party person and then you go and support any other candidate apart from our presidential candidate, it means forfeiture of membership.
If this warning is anything to go by, then party stalwart and former Ashanti Regional Minister SK Boafo will be the first casualty.
Honorable SK Boafo, a stalwart of the NP, fully endorses our presidency in 2024.
Yes, I do.
We're going to see you campaign for him.
If he calls me, I will do it.
It has emerged the party leadership reached out to Mr. Chemantin in an attempt to get him to rescind his decision. Nana Buachi again.
So yes, that is what I'm saying. As part of it too, the national chairman representing the party also went to him. He is the national chairman, also went to him. So we did quite a lot.
Meanwhile, spokesperson for the Bawumia campaign team, Nana Kumia, says Mr. Chemantin's decision to resign will not thwart the chances of his candidate.
If you want to use concrete evidence, the evidence in the last election, we didn't see that sway of Alan Chemantin in the Ashanti region. We didn't see it at all.
So who is in and who is out? My colleague Kweku Asante joins me in studio with a chat. Now, Kweku, let's start with the former Menchia North MP, Collins Owusu-Amankwa, in his position.
Collins Owusu-Amankwa says he's been one of the backers of Alan Chemantin since 2005. He loves him very much, but on this decision, he cannot leave the NPP.
Well, they say the emotion that can break your heart is sometimes the very one that feels it. But in all things, let's give thanks to the Almighty God. Certainly, I'm not a happy person. This is the man that I have personally supported since 2005 as a party man. And he has now declared his intention to go independent presidential candidate. I can only wish him well, but the principle is that I, Kwame Owusu-Amankwa, remain with the elephant symbol. I'm NPP man, I'm a patriot, and I'll continue to champion the cause of New Patriotic Party.
And Kweku, there's the Member of Parliament for Impriso, Davis Opoku-Ansah.
Yes, one of the few in Parliament who've backed Alan Chemantin's 2024 presidential bid for the NPP. He's also saying that he and his colleagues who are in Parliament, although very much supportive of Alan Chemantin's bid to lead the NPP, once he's going solo, they are not joining him.
But I can only wish him well and say that any person who, like me, supported Alan Chemantin, this is a time to reassure the party faithful that we are together. I mean, winning 2024 demands some unity. For me, it's an unfortunate situation. I'm deeply worried and disappointed as well. I mean, in this decision by Mr. Chemantin to first of all quit the MPP. I mean, my commitment to the MPP is a solid thing. I mean, they always say the MPP is bigger than any individual. For me, the MPP is even bigger than myself when it comes to me. So this is a party that has given me my political standing. It's a party that I serve the people of Impriso, the Member of Parliament, representing them.
And Kweku, there's also the Deputy Finance Minister. Now, my colleague Nanaya Aljima joins me on the line with more. Nanaya, what's the directive from the Ashanti Regional Office?
There's actually a memo that is signed by the chairman of the MPP in the Ashanti region, Bernard Nchubu, and portions of the memo read in view of Honorable Alan Chemantin's resignation from the party. All posters, banners, flyers, and paraphernalia at our party office in all the constituencies must be removed with immediate effect. And it continues to say that once he has forfeited his membership, it is just fair and right that these items are removed from our offices. And what I'm saying is that it's a memo from the NPP and it's signed by Bernard Nchubu.
And Nanaya Aljima, do we know that this directive has taken effect?
Yes, the few constituency chairmen that I've been able to speak with so far is that they are saying that they've directed their members to remove the flyers and banners from the party offices.
Thank you very much, Nana Yaujima. Now, a former General Secretary of the NPP, John Boydu, insists the decision by Alan Tremantin to resign will not affect the fortunes of the party in the next election.
But in all elections, you look at the irregularities and determine whether, even if all the votes in that place is given to one person, the person will be able to win.
So his reasons you say are not tenable at this point.
Maybe there are other reasons that he didn't tell us, because if you listen to what he said, taking it back from 2007, what happened in 2008, even in this party, if those issues that you raised had not been resolved, you've been part of the party, you've contested as a flag bearer, you've joined Anado in an election in 2012, you've contested again in 2014, you joined Anado in 2016, we won the election, you've been minister for 6 years.
We're still exploring the fortunes of an independent candidate, and we've been joined on the line by former presidential candidate Foster Abu Sakara for more on this. Thank you very much, Mr. Sakara. Is Alan Tremantin the much-needed third force for Ghana's political landscape?
Well, I think what Ghana's political landscape needs is a political solution to the alternative of the duopoly. And anybody who would help us with that, I think is welcome. And certainly it will be a welcome addition to have somebody who is committed to fighting a national cause, of ensuring that we have a system that will deliver on the main issues of equity, inclusion, and unity, and ensuring that, partisan politics does not subsume the national interest. That is where we are. We welcome anybody who is going to join hands with us in the pursuit of that.
Well, you have been rooting for this for the longest time. Will you personally back Alan Tremantin in his race?
I think at this time we have not had detailed discussions to that effect, but certainly we would welcome more hands on deck, and a substantive person like that would certainly be welcome. We would want to ensure first that we're all working towards the same cause, and if in the process of that, it emerges that he's the best person to lead, we welcome that. But we want to first ensure that we are all working towards the same purpose.
Right. We're grateful for your time here, Mr. Abu Foster Sakara. Now, a founding member of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Nyahonyao Tamaklo, has challenged Alan Tremantin to mention names of unknown faces he said are destroying the NPP. Speaking on the Super Morning Show this morning, Dr. Tamaklo believes Alan Tremantin has missed an opportunity to name the said unknown faces, questioning his confidence in the issues he has raised during his address on Monday.
And we are not careful, we shall definitely walk back to 1979. That is my view. His move really is a move that will definitely bring a big problem to the party. You see, he made mentions of certain things. Who are those few people? Alan should be bold. You see, the problem with him is that he's not bold. I remember 4 or 5 months ago when they asked me a question about the succession plan, and I told them that Alan could have been a better person if he had resigned from cabinet and government some months back, because he's aware. He can't tell me that he wasn't aware. He is very much aware. He was aware at that time of all the infractions and the thievery that was going on in the government, but he didn't stay aware. No, it's a person as of now. I respect him a lot for his credibility, if I'll say so. You follow me? But Alan should be bold and talk.
Well, still on Alan's political future, the spouses of presidential candidates have typically played varied roles on the campaign trail in modern presidential campaigns. While some have taken a laid-back role, others have been more visible and vocal. What role will Mrs. Tremantin play in the upcoming presidential candidature of her husband? What was her demeanor during the event, and what has she been saying about her husband's new journey? In this feature, Joy News contributor Eche Sikanko takes a look at Mrs. Tremantin's new role.
Presidential spouses have emerged as a major part of the presidential campaign in modern politics. From Michelle Obama to Melania Trump to Rebecca Akufo-Addo and Lordina Mahama, the wives of presidential candidates have assumed varied and multiple roles. While some have been less active and laid back, others have been more outspoken. During her husband's historic announcement of his independent presidential candidature, Mrs. Chemantin was unusually active, animated, and spirited.
I'm giving him every support with the strength that God has given me. Because you will agree with me that now the signal is clear and it is more possible that this will happen.
Sounding hopeful and decisive, she maintained that her husband is the best person to take the country forward.
Alan Chemantin is a good man. He's the honest man. He's the man with vision. He's what Ghana needs.
Together with other supporters, she did not hold back in her support for her husband's big deal. It appeared Mrs. Chemantin had discovered a new lease of life with her husband's fresh status.
There's nothing impossible. God permits it.
Will we see more of Mrs. Chemantin in the coming months? Will she begin to assume a more active role in her husband's campaign? We can only wait and see the nature of her role as the campaign unfolds moving forward.
Well, frontrunner in the NPP presidential race, Vice President Dr. Mamadou Bawumia has yet to comment on Mr. Chemantin's decision. Rather, he spent this morning monitoring the limited voter registration exercise at the EC's headquarters.
So far, my observation is that it has been going on smoothly here. I've had a chat with a few people along, and they all say it's going well. That we've had reports also that there have been attempts in many places to register minors. This is very important. It's not only criminal to do so, but you are endangering the future of these minors. When you register them at this stage, they will enter into our record books at a particular age. When they come to retirement, they will be retired at a very early age.
The NPP is expected to hold a news conference this afternoon. We shall bring it to you live on Joy News. Away from politics, now the Central Gonja District branch of NADMO is warning of looming hunger in Wipe. The organization says it has no resources to cater for residents displaced by flood waters. Over 1,000 residents have been displaced and without food and currently lodging in school buildings. Compounding the problem is the rise in water levels in the area, which has left NADMO authorities baffled. Initial information from NADMO linked the floodwaters to the rains and possible spillage of the Bagri Dam, but managers of the Bui Power Authority have debunked this, while NADMO coordinator Mbora Mustafa expresses his frustration about events in the area.
This is what we still cannot authenticate very well. Though the Bui Authority has debunked that they have not failed. But in Bupe, we don't have effective rain as expected this year. Though yesterday we were able to know that the two rivers where they met at the confluence possibly might also contribute to this flood. That is per one of the technical men on ground.
Spokesperson for the Northern Regional Caucus of Parliament, Rashid Pelpo, is worried about the situation.
The fact that we have this perennial problem and we have no answer to it. Now we are even arguing whether it is because of the Bagri Dam or because of the rain. It shows lack of scientific approach to this whole issue, and it also shows lack of commitment as to what exactly will reduce our yearly food supply. You know, it's just not about the people who are suffering now. It's about the totality of our food stock being hampered by situations that we can easily understand and control, and we seem not to be caring much about it.
Meanwhile, it remains a mystery how water levels in the flood district keeps rising. There are allegations the Bui Dam or the Bagri Dam has been spilled, but the authority has debunked this in a statement. The authority in its statement says it hasn't undertaken any spillage activity. Well, here in the Greater Accra region, my colleague Fred Kwarting is on the ground at certain areas that have been reported flooded. He joins me on the line. Fred, which areas have you been to so far and what can you report?
Okay, thank you, Maame. So I started the tour from Akweteman, specifically around the Pentecost Church area. The road is the alternative road to the Highway. When we got there, we noticed that part of the bridge on that stretch has been ripped off by the heavy downpour, rendering the road almost troubled. So roadways had to find alternative routes to their various destinations. So it took the intervention of some residents at the area to fix portions of the road before residents could use it. So as we speak now, the bridge is in a very bad state, and
nti wuntimi mpie wotemu saa wo no mba de kom na demo saa kire se sensuo ne twe a sade mo ba ye ya atwen ye no na wunya kwaya si abonten akopepa bia di.
Before I reach home, everything I've left there, maybe I will not be around, nobody is around, everything I've spoiled. Who am I going to blame for? So we have to set a solution to that. Right now we don't have drainage here. It's at the junction there. All the water is standing here. This the small thing we have seen that when it starts to rain again right now, as me and you are standing here, you have to search for some place to hide, and where are we going to run to? So we are pleading on them.
And you had some persons affected by floods in the Greater Accra region. You're listening to the Midday News, sponsored by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol, always a delightful experience. And Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank. Where Duraplus goes, water flows. Still to come, the wheelchair didn't stop her from pursuing a life of helping others. In today's edition of Stories of Hope, we'll tell you the inspirational story of Lily.
Identifying the needy but brilliant in the schools. We organized the exams, and then we chose the beneficiaries who had excelled. So I look at them when we settled. I'm very fulfilled seeing them moving up and then doing well in life.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a Petrosol station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
Thanks for staying with us. We have sports.
Yes, and later today at 4 p.m., the Black Queens took on Rwanda in the second leg of the Women's AFCON qualifiers at Accra Sports Stadium. The team has a 7-goal advantage after securing the big win in Kigali last week. It is now 7 wins on the bounce under head coach Nora Haptel, and she's hoping to continue the winning run.
There's a lot of work behind. First, of course, you need to congratulate the players. They, in the end, are on the pitch and take the right decisions. We have a big staff which we work very professional behind in the analysis, in the game planning, a lot of individual talks, also video analysis. So there's a lot of work, and this is in the end the secret. Yes, we are proud that we scored so many goals, but even more proud to have a blank sheet behind. We also invest a lot in the defense. And I think until now, the game plan gripped, but also the players really transmitted it well. We have a game plan which we slightly adapt, and of course also there we look then for players and position which work in function to our game plan.
That's Nora Haptel, head coach of the Black Queens.
Thank you, Mubarak. Now from the depths of despair, she emerged with a purpose, founding the Share Foundation, an organization dedicated to illuminating the futures of bright yet disadvantaged children. Lily has become a beacon of hope, lighting the way for those in need. There's more in today's edition of Stories of Hope.
She can call you now? All right, okay.
Meet Lily, a compassionate soul whose life took an unexpected turn. In her youth, the world was her oyster, but fate had a different plan. A tragic automobile accident changed the course of Lily's life, leaving her paralyzed.
I went to school in Datus, Taba. I went to Holy Child. I went to UCC and then traveled to Scotland to work and then do some studies. Then I returned from Scotland and then I was working with American Field Service. And on my way to work, I was involved in an accident.
For 7 long years, the hospital became her second home as she nursed herself back into good health.
I'm receiving therapy in between and then undergoing surgeries. Some days I'm up, some days I'm down, some days I don't want to do anything.
It was in those moments of solitude and reflection that Lily found her purpose. Supported by her pastor and some dear friends, she founded the Share Foundation.
Identifying the needy but brilliant in the schools. We organized the exams, and then we chose the beneficiaries who had excelled.
Jonathan Kwanzaa is one of the beneficiaries of Share Foundation.
They've taken care of me from JHS, right from JHS to SHS to KTU.
18 years on, the foundation has blossomed into a place where dreams are nurtured and futures are carved.
So I look at them when we settled. I'm very fulfilled seeing them moving up and then doing well in life.
And that's Lily's story of hope. Now, Joy News is learning the National Petroleum Authority is taking steps to address the looming fuel shortage following a threat by the Tanker Owners Union to halt the transportation of petroleum products across the country over claims some foreign entities are taking over their businesses. Under the local content law and the deregulation of the petroleum sector, the haulage of petroleum products across the country is reserved for indigenous Ghanaian companies. But according to the union, a Chinese firm behind the construction of an oil refinery at Tema, Central, has brought tankers to offload the petroleum products locally. We're joined by a member of the Tanker Owners Union, Ignatius Doe. Mr. Doe, thank you for joining us. Has the NPA addressed your concerns?
Thank you, Auntie. I would say yes, to some extent. They've responded to our letter, and then they've tried to explain to us and then as well as to the Centum refinery that whatever they intend doing is not acceptable to the laws of this country. So they have to rescind that decision. But it doesn't mean that we are going to relent in our efforts. We'll still keep our vigilance and will respond appropriately if we find them coming into the mainstream distribution sector. Yeah.
So, Mr. Doe, is the plan to halt the transportation of petroleum products still on the table?
Oh yes, I cannot tell, because once they are going about calibrating the vehicles that they have brought in, because each and every day people are seeing them, the transporters are seeing them, other people are seeing them going to centers where they are inspecting the vehicles and calibrating them, and that is the first steps towards the licensing of the vehicles.
Right, we're grateful for your time, Mr. Ignatius Doe, a member of the Tanker Owners Union. And before we go, for 3 days, some Ghanaians expressed their frustrations over the current economic hardship that had taken a toll on their livelihood. One of the protesters, Nasiba, laments about how people die at the hospital where she works because they cannot afford essential medical treatment.
Very angry. I'm more angry at this morning. People are dying each day. The dialysis machine in Kolebu Gospel. Do you know the number of people who died? A 24-year-old boy died this morning. His father is a teacher. His father is a teacher. Gave over 30 years of his life to the service. Could not afford transplants. Could not afford dialysis. 400 cedis a week. What do you mean?
I drove into a pit on a motorway. It got my rim cracked. It divided into two. I had to drive my car into the bush. It was around 6 o'clock p.m. in the evening. This is why I don't even visit my mother in Pram Pram. My mom lives in Pram Pram. So this is not about, bro, see, I don't care.
I have had 3 careers, right? I have had a swimming school. I've been teaching as a swimming instructor for 7 years, okay? Yeah. And then I've been working as a social media influencer on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, you name it. And in addition to that, I've been practicing for law. I've been studying for the law to eventually make money in that area. And finally, I've been basically working on my YouTube career as well. How many sources of income did I mention? 4. I do 010 or 001. Do you know what that means? No eating breakfast, no eating lunch. You just eat supper.
Nasiba and others bringing us to the end of the midday news, sponsored by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol, always a delightful experience. Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank where Duraplus goes, water flows. In our top story, you had some key supporters of Alan Tremonting abandon him and his independent presidential bid as they vow to stick with the NPP tradition. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Coming up next is Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil.
It's the best season of the year, just in some points. Momo pay or you say Momo app. Send with ease and win big. You be merchant or you be Momo user. Momo season abanti send BBR. Send BBR. Momo season abanti send BBR. Send BBR.
From now till the end of September, earn points when you download the Momo app and make Momo Pay transactions to a merchant via either the QR code or merchant ID and stand the chance of winning 1,000